Hello everyone, I want to do a summary video on this Deer Creek Stealth Blast. Okay, so this is what they call a sound mitigating device. It's basically a shielded muzzle brake. Okay, so there's a 2-chamber muzzle brake in there, and then there's a blast shield over it. So it's not a suppressor, it doesn't even come close. And I did a whole bunch of videos on it already, but I kind of wanted to consolidate my overall opinion in one video through the testing process. So I did try this both on a 13-inch AR-15 shooting 5.56, and over here it's on my AR-10. I shot it in both the 20-inch and also on this 16-inch. So let's start with the 13-inch AR pistol. Using this shielded muzzle brake, okay, if I tried to shoot it with just the little ear cushions, it was uncomfortable. Okay, now by comparison, when I shoot it with the Radical Firearms Spitfire, which unfortunately has been discontinued, with that one I can comfortably shoot just with the ear cushions. Okay, so that one is a little bit fatter, right? So it seems to contain the blast a little bit better. So with this one, right, with the Deer Creek, and this was also the case with the Sharp Rose Badlands when I tested that one. On the 13-inch, I cannot comfortably shoot it with just the little ear cushions. I have to use like earmuffs. Okay, now if I use just a bird cage, right, an A2 bird cage, what usually happens is if I do enough shooting, with just the earmuffs, it starts getting a little uncomfortable, right? So a lot of times you'll have to, especially if you go to something even shorter than that, a lot of times you'll have to double up. But with this shielded muzzle brake, I can comfortably shoot it and do lots of shooting with just the earmuffs. Like with the ear cushions, you know, it's just like pushing it over the edge. Like some people might be okay with it. I don't recommend shooting with just the ear cushions. But that's where that landed, okay? And even though this is the 5/8 by 24, so this is a 308 version, I was able to buy an adapter, right? It was only like $10 for a 2-pack on Amazon, so that I could put this on pretty much any AR-15 and shoot it, okay? So that was a summary on that. That it, you know, it brings it down to the point where you can comfortably shoot it with earmuffs, but you can't shoot it with ear cushions. Okay, so when I put it on my 20-inch AR-10, so now obviously with the 308, we're getting a lot more blast, and with the 20-inch, for whatever reason, like I never had too much of an issue shooting that just with the earmuffs, right? I can't shoot it with ear cushions, but I have to shoot it with earmuffs. I usually don't have to double up on that. It does have an adjustable gas valve, so I basically have it gassed as low as possible. I give it just enough gas so that it will run the gun, basically, which is important because you want to have the gas. You want this essentially ejecting at 4 o'clock, because what that does is it delays the opening of the bolt, which sends more of the gases out the barrel. If you're overgassed, right, and your cases are ejecting, let's say at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, your bolt's going to open up a little sooner, and what's going to happen is more of the gas and the noise is going to come out of the ejection port, which is closer to your face, and it's going to sound a lot louder. Okay, so being able to adjust the gas goes a long way towards making this a lot more effective. Okay, so that was also the case on my on the AR-15 when I tested it. That's ejecting at 4 o'clock. If you're ejecting up at 1 o'clock, yeah, it's going to sound a lot louder to you. Okay, so on the 20-inch AR-10, like I said, I've got that gas tuned down. I can usually shoot that pretty comfortably with just the A2 flash hider. The Deer Creek Stealth Blast probably made it a little bit more comfortable, but it also reduced the recoil a little bit. All right, so with both the AR-15 and this, when we're talking about recoil reduction, right, with the shielded muzzle brake, we're talking about a small difference, right? A very small difference. Now that small difference might be the difference between comfortable and uncomfortable for you, okay? Now when I took off the blast shield and I shot it with just the muzzle brake, okay, there was increased recoil reduction, but there was additional noise, right? And here's the thing, that noise can become a pretty big distraction. So I find that, you know, I tend to shoot worse with louder guns. Okay, so even though using the brake by itself will reduce the recoil more, the noise becomes more of a distraction, and my overall accuracy falls. Okay, so for me, I shoot more accurate with the blast shield. Okay, I'm willing to accept a little bit, you know, just a little bit of recoil reduction, a little bit of noise reduction, but it makes for more comfortable shooting. But definitely, you gotta shoot this with earmuffs. Forget about like not shooting it without any ear protection. You're gonna damage your ears. You're not gonna be able to comfortably shoot it with just the ear cushions. Okay, so you need earmuffs. The good thing about it is that that's all you need. All right, you can shoot the 20-inch AR-10 comfortably with just the earmuffs. Okay, now hey everyone, I want to cut in here for a second and basically explain that my overall goal with this, especially on the AR-10, is be able to stay in the scope while I'm shooting at distance, and like basically be able to spot the impacts. Okay, so that's the main goal here. The 16-inch seems to be louder, and it also seems to have more recoil. So when I had an A2 flash hider on both my 20-inch and my 16-inch, like most of the time I just found myself shooting the 20-inch. The 16-inch was just like, you know, it was just a pain in the ass to shoot. With this Deer Creek Stealth Blast, and I've shot it like at least 3-4 days in a row now. I just shot it before I did this video. It has brought the noise and the recoil down to a point, right, where I can comfortably shoot it and enjoy it with earmuffs. Okay, gotta be with earmuffs. Don't even think that you're gonna be able to comfortably shoot this with ear cushions. Okay, you know, you need the earmuffs, but with the earmuffs, you can shoot this 16-inch AR-10 comfortably. You know, with those with those earmuffs. Now, the ammunition that I'm shooting, right? The ammunition that I tested out on the 308 gun was the Freedom Munitions 150 grain. And this is pretty hot ammunition, okay? Because it makes a difference. Because you can get 308 ammunition that's like really on the soft end, all right? And so the ones that I was using were on the hot end. The velocity was somewhere around, was above 2,800 feet per second. I think it's something like 2,830 or something like that. The energy is just a little bit above 2,500 foot-pounds. That's on the 20-inch, okay? So 2,500 foot-pounds. On the 16-inch, I come in at about 2,350 foot-pounds, okay? So using hot ammunition, okay, this Deer Creek really brought this 16-inch to a level where I can really enjoy shooting it, right, with just earmuffs without it concussing me. And it's not just a matter of the noise to your ears, because what's happening is the noise doesn't just coming through your ears, because the loud noise creates a wave, right? That also goes through your body. So even if you double up on ear protection, you can still get a mild headache from your body, from the concussion wave that comes through your body. Okay, so the reason why it's on my 16-inch and it's going to stay on my 16-inch is because it's making more of a difference on the 16-inch than it is on the 20-inch. Okay, and I was considering also getting a second one for my 20-inch, and I'm going to kind of like wait it out and kind of see what happens with the Shush Act, right? They're trying to take the suppressors out of the NFA. If that happens, I'll definitely be getting some suppressors, because that's what that's what the real answer is, right? Because this is basically a let's put it this way, it's a really stupefied version of a suppressor, right? Because a suppressor is basically the same thing as this, except it's bigger. It just has more volume. It has, because the brake in here kind of acts a little bit as baffles. It slows down the gases a little bit, but because there's just so little volume in there, you know, there's also, it put these little extra holes here in the front so that, you know, it can't be confused with a suppressor. So a suppressor would basically just be an upgraded version of this right here. Okay, it doesn't. I mean, they can be more fancy, more complicated, but they don't have to be. If you got if you got like a 3 or 4 chamber muzzle brake, and then you just have a bigger, you know, this is probably like I don't know, maybe a 3/4 inch blast shield that's around it, or a 1 inch blast shield that's around it. If you make that, let's say, 1.5 inches or 2 inches, and maybe, you know, wide, and maybe another 3 or 4 inches longer, you got a suppressor. Okay, so the answer is a suppressor. But for those of you guys out there that are like me, that don't want to deal with the NFA, this is an answer to get you to the point where you can shoot, let's say, your 16-inch 308 over here with hot ammunition, with just earmuffs, and it's not going to beat you up. Okay. Because I saw that it was helping me a lot more on the 16-inch versus the 20-inch, and the 20-inch is also a much heavier gun. Okay, so the 20-inch, first of all, the muzzle is a little bit further out, right? So that's, you know, that's reducing the noise a little bit just by it being a little bit further out. The other thing is the gun itself is heavier, right? Because you got extra barrel, and it also has a bigger scope on it. Okay, because it has a heavier scope. Again, that extra mass picks up more of the recoil. So that's probably the reason why, you know, here with the lighter 16-inch 308, this Deer Creek Stealth Blast it's more useful. It's making more of a difference. And when I say more of a difference, we're probably talking about a 5 to 10% improvement, right? So a fairly small improvement in noise and recoil reduction. However, that 5 to 10% is the difference between, you know, enjoying shooting it and not enjoying shooting it. Okay, so because it's helping me more on a 16-inch, that's where it's going to stay, and then we'll see what happens in, you know, later in the year in 2025. As suppressors come out of the NFA, hey, I'll be doing a whole bunch of videos on suppressors, okay? And I'm not going to be going to the suppressor companies to buy suppressors for $1,000. What I am going to be doing is going like the companies like Deer Creek and with machinery and seeing what they offer, because all they would have to do is basically just upgrade, you know, these devices that they're already making, okay? Now, one of the issues that I've been running into is that even with the rock set, with the heavy 308 loads, it is still, you know, it's breaking the rock set, and it is coming loose on me. So I had the rock set, which, you know, that dries differently from the blue Loctite. So the rock set, it kind of like when it breaks loose, it kind of turns kind of into dustish. I tried, I just put in, since the rock set wasn't working, I put the blue Loctite. We're going to see how that works. The blue Loctite, it dries differently. It tends to, I think, dry a little bit softer and just kind of create more friction so that it doesn't unscrew. Now, if the barrel gets very hot, it's going to start to burn, okay? However, for the kind of shooting, basically with an AR-10, I'm not going to be doing mag dumps, okay? Usually I'm doing like 5 to 10 round groups, you know, checking my accuracy, you know, so the barrel doesn't get that hot. So we're going to see how the blue Loctite works on this. Now, this does come with a little rubber, I guess, washer that's supposed to go, you know, basically you're supposed to put it on before you thread the blast shield on. When I try to make it tight, it basically jumped over the blast shield and started rolling down. So now maybe the answer is to not make it tight, right? You just put it on a little bit till it compresses a little bit, and maybe that'll work better with, you know, maybe the reason why the rock set wasn't working for me is because I had it too tight, and then from the vibration, right, because you got 2 different pieces of metal here, that was breaking it. So I don't know, that's something I'm still trying to figure out, but I just want to make you guys aware, you know, down the road, if you're watching this video and you're having a problem with the blast shield staying on there with rock set, I'm having it too. So I'm still trying to figure that part out. One of the things to be aware of, and I did a video on this, if what you want to do is you're going to zero this in with the blast shield on. Now, if you remove it, if you remove the blast shield, what's going to happen is your point of impact at 100 yards, or mine anyway, rose by 3 inches, right? So when I took off this blast shield and I shot it at 100 yards, my impact's raised by 3 inches. Okay, so why would that be happening? Well, anytime you put something on your muzzle, that changes the harmonics of the barrel, right? Because these barrels, when the gun fires, they vibrate a little bit, right? They flex a little bit. So anything you attach to it changes the harmonics. So when the bullet exits the muzzle, the barrel, as it's vibrating, might be vibrating at a different point, right? That might be at the high end or at the low end. And that's the whole idea behind these free-floated barrels. The reason why they make free-floated barrels is so that you can attach your sling, your bipod, without attaching anything directly to the barrel. Because if this bipod attached, let's say, directly to the barrel, when I attached it, that I'm changing the harmonics. Or if the sling attached directly to the barrel, I'd be changing the harmonics. So that's what's happening with the blast shield. You take it on, you put it off, you're changing the harmonics, and you're probably going to get a different point of impact. Now, you might get lucky. You might, your stars might line up where it doesn't change, right? Because remember, that barrel's going up and down. You might get, so that might depend on the length. It might depend on the different ammunition that you're using. I don't know. But for me, with the 150 grain Freedom munition I was shooting, when I took the blast shield off, my impacts were 3 inches high. So and that's important to know, because if I do take it off, I know that at 100 yards, I got to aim 3 inches low, okay? Or 3 MOA low, right? This is a mill grid, so I would a mill reticle, so I would convert that into mils, and I would know, how much lower to aim. Okay, so there's information that you gotta know. If you're not able to test it out on yourself, by yourself, or if you're gonna go shooting and you haven't had a chance to test it out, you can make a note of that. That's what I got. And that's probably, that might be a good place for you to start, right? If you go back and forth between taking it on, taking it off, etc. Okay. Is it worth it? For $120, you know what? It gave me a pretty good solution here on the 16-inch AR-10, where I can enjoy shooting this. I'm enjoying shooting this a lot more with the blast shield on than the blast shield off. And that's going to buy me some time until hopefully the suppressors come out of the NFA. You know what? If they don't, I'm not buying a suppressor. I will never buy a suppressor unless they come out of the NFA. I'm not, and it's not an issue of money, okay? It's an issue of I'm not going to give the ATF $200. I refuse to do it. So I will work around the law. But I understand. I want you guys to understand that the solution that we're really looking for here, right, is a suppressor. Okay, this is just a compromise, because we don't want to play by the ATF, and the gun control rules. Okay, so that's what we're doing here with this. I also did speak to the I spoke to the company. I don't know who I spoke with. It went straight to, I think, somebody's cell phone. So it's probably the owner of the company himself who makes these, and he answered the phone. And my question for him is, what is the threading of the blast shield that goes over it? Okay. I gotta go look it up. Give me a second. Let me go find it. I wrote it down somewhere. So the threading of the blast shield is 7/8 by 18. Okay, 7/8 by 18. And he said that it's not likely that I would find some other blast shield to fit on this. Because that was my question. It's like, okay, is there a bigger, because my first question to him was there a bigger, blast shield that I can get with a little bit more volume? He said, no, they're not. Currently, they don't have anything available. So, and I asked him, well, is there someplace else I can get? What's the threading? Can I get it somewhere else? He said, no, I'm not likely going to find it, but he did tell me that it was 7/8 by 18. Other question that I asked was these little holes over here, right? What would be the, would there be a benefit to taking my welder and filling in these little holes that are around the center hole? Would it quiet the gun a little bit more? Would it reduce the recoil? And he said no, that it wouldn't do. It wouldn't, because it's an issue of volume. There's just not enough volume inside to really make that much of a difference. The other thing he said that I might have a difficult, I might have a difficult time welding it because of the nitrating that they put on here. So any welds that I put on here, it may not take hold. So you know, I mean, I wasn't really planning to do it, but again, I'm just asking questions, gathering information, especially if suppressors come at you in the face, like, and I would look at this and say, hey, how can I improve this? So yeah, filling in these holes with a welder wouldn't make a difference. May not work because of the nitrating. And the other question, the other issue that came up was if I did fill in those holes, especially with the 308, right, it might create an overpressure issue, okay? Because now there's more gas being trapped in here, there's less gas escaping. And you know, with the 308, it could create an overpressure issue. Wouldn't do it with like a 300 blackout or, you know, 556, but with the 308, you know, he said I'm really pushing the edge there as far as overpressuring it. Okay? So I thought that'd be some interesting information for you guys to have. And yeah, my overall summary is that, you know what, for the $120 on the 16-inch, this is worth it. On the 16-inch AR-10, it's worth it. Okay, it's making a difference. On my 20-inch, it was also improving it, not as much as a 16-inch, but it's probably also worth it for that. For $120, I wouldn't go to $150. Like because I saw the whip machinery, they're selling this for $150. Nah, I'm not doing that. Okay, I don't think you know. I mean, I just you know, unless I know for sure that it is going to reduce the recoil or the noise significantly more than what this is doing, I'm not doing it. I'm not spending $150 on that. So for $120, and because the good thing about what the Deer Creek is doing is it's like, I think like $115, but they're only charging like $5 for shipping, right? Because they're sending it like USPS. So it came out to $120 like shipped to my door. Okay, so that's pretty good. Okay, so for that, you know, I don't mind. Now on a 5.56 gun, right? On let's say you got like an AR pistol, because I tested this side by side with my Core Valley and the Tac Fire. Okay, I mean, yes, this was an improvement over the Core Valley and the Tac Fire linear comp, but it was like it was so small that I had to fire it a bunch of times before I could even feel the difference. Okay, so and the Core Valley, I mean, they used to be I bought mine for $35. I think now it's like $50. The price is going to fluctuate somewhere between $35 and $50. The Tac Fire, I just saw those like right now that I think they're like $25 over like a month ago during the Christmas season. They were $10 at Aptex Planet. So the Tac Fire, if you can get that for $10 or even $20, that's the way to go. That's the deal. You know, so you get that for $10 or $20. This is only a minor improvement over that. Okay, the benefit of this would be in the night shooting, because when I shot this at night and I posted videos, the muzzle flash that I got out of this was pretty minimal. There was a little bit more muzzle flash, right? But you know, versus let's say a flash hider, right? There was a little bit more muzzle flash, but it was minimal. When I shoot the Core Valley and the Tac Fire at night, I get a flamethrower. Okay, so on the 13-inch barrel, I posted a video on that. The flame is this big. Okay, so this does a better job of controlling the flash. Okay, so that's a reason why you would get this. If you're gonna get this, let's say for your AR pistol, the main reason why you would get this over the Core Valley or Tac Fire is for the flash reduction. If you're just looking for, you know, noise and recoil mitigation, it's not worth spending the extra $100. Just get yourself the Core Valley and the Tac Fire. But on the 308 gun, it's making a difference. It's worth it. Okay. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Drop some comments. Give the video a like because it helps get the information out there. And it's kind of obvious from the way I do my videos that these aren't paid promotions, guys. I don't monetize my channel. I don't get free stuff usually. Once in a while, you know, some company will say, "Hey, can you review this?" But for the most part, I buy everything. I bought this, paid for it, like, you know, my own money. So yeah, I'm just doing this for the benefit of the gun community, right? I just want to get the information out there. Oh, other important thing with Deer Creek, right? That makes the stealth glass. If you got questions for them, call them up, right? Because I did send them like 2 or 3 emails, like I use, you know, to the email address that's on their webpage. I sent them a couple of emails. They never got back to me. And I don't think they just, I don't think the guy checked his email. Okay, I don't think he's a computer guy. He's a machine guy, right? He you know. So if you call him, when I called him, it seemed to go straight to his cell phone. He picked it right up. He was very nice. He had a conversation, gave me the details that I wanted, right? Understood what I was getting at, right? You know, with the questions that I was asking, right? Understood 100% when I was asking, and still answered my question. Because a lot of times people will be like, "Oh no, you know, I don't want to get into that with you." You know, no, this guy was pretty cool. He answered my questions. But yeah, you gotta call him. If you got questions, you gotta call him, because if you you know, the emails that I sent, or actually they were right off their webpage, right? Because they got this thing where you fill out on the webpage and you submit it. That went into a black hole somewhere. I mean, I don't think they ever got it. So yeah, got a question, call them up. So if you got any questions for me, put them in the comments below. Talk to y'all soon.